Hi, everybody. Welcome to Tea Time with Amy and Bev. Hola.
Good day. How are things?
Oh, so much. I think every time we get in here now and you ask me that, I'm like, oh my God, there's so much going on. But um, there's a lot happening. And it's joyful, it's fun, it's um, a lot of detail. It's so many things, and I'm enjoying all of it. So, not not a lot to go into detail about it right now. Maybe at a later time, but just a lot of enjoyment in life right now of what's happening.
Nice.
Well, I will say for one, and I don't think I talked about this yet. Uh, the nonprofit organization that I'm in, we just had our biggest fundraiser of the year, which we've been doing for 34 years. 120 guests. So when I think about that, I'm like 240 eyeballs on me giving a speech. I think that's the biggest group I have done a speech in front of. So, and I lived, right? So each time I get into a group in front of a group of people of having to not necessarily teach because I enjoy teaching and that it's just speaking, being a speaker. And you have to, there's components of your body language, your tone, your connecting with the audience. And, there's just these things to consider. And so that can be a little bit of uh, nerve wracking, but also still learning to feel safe in front of a group of people and speaking, because naturally, not naturally, but my history, my programming is being an introvert. And introverts don't like attention. Introverts definitely don't want to be the center of attention in a group of 120 people, let alone 10, right? We just like, nope, I'm just going to sit in the back, just act like I'm not here. I'm learning what I need to learn and I'm going to leave. Don't talk to me, right? So learning to keep telling myself I'm okay, I'm safe, I'm going to live, everything's, and to have a silent, absolutely silent room while I'm speaking was amazing. I was like, what? This is it was all giddiness and nervousness at the same time. Then, no, this is great because it just reminded me. Then, just I think it was last week. I think it was, I don't even know who it was who said it was on a podcast, but they said, what if what you're feeling and what you're calling nervousness is actually your spirit cheering you on and super excited? I was like, what? That's great. I love that mindset shift to think, oh my gosh, my spirit's cheering me on. I'm so excited. And this vibration is super high. My body can't contain itself and it's just shaking like crazy. so, so I like that. I'm embracing that, especially now that I remember I heard it. But embrace it and think of that next time I feel any kind of nervousness. I'll just remember that my spirit is cheering me on. So super excited.
That's awesome. I wrote it down too.
So anytime we're
Yeah.
stepping out of, stepping into something that brings us what we think is fear and scared, that our body, or not necessarily our body, but our spirit's like, no, do it, because you're gonna be amazed what happens afterwards.
Nice.
Yeah. So
And it's like, well, before we came on for the conversation, I was in the midst of struggle, and then you're one of your options. It's reminding ourselves of these tools that we have, and tapping was one of the tools that you brought forward, and it's like it made a huge difference for me. And I've seen it a few times, so it's like I want to remind people. you don't know how to do it, get a hold of Amy. Have her walk you through some tapping because it really does. There is such a benefit to it, and it is a reprogramming by you doing that. And then I was thinking about you going up on stage. Did you think about, because that's a pretty phenomenal amount of people, and it's awesome to know that they were captivated by you, your energy, your presence, your higher self is like, they're seeing me and I'm on stage right now. Like it's so the excitement that I could feel from that was amazing. Did you like set your intentions before you went that day? Like, did you set yourself up thinking this is how it's going to be? It's people were because now it's like to me that's something to play with. The next group I'm going to get in front of, there's going to be 350 of them people that are watching me, and the room is silent and they're just absorbing everything that I say like it's their last breath. And it's like setting yourself up for these occasions because it's milking it, right? It's like it's just like what we were talking about, which we don't normally have conversations ahead of time, but today we had a little bit of a conversation. Otherwise, you wouldn't have this version of me. So they, you can all send thank you cards to Amy at no, just kidding. I'm not going to give you out her address, but I'm just saying.
Well, before you go there, I quickly want to say that the version that you're seeing of Bev right now is the complete opposite of what she was before we hopped on, because she has experienced having a life experience that is weighing heavy on her. And so we did the tapping and like minutes, like this was not even 10 minutes ago, not even 10 minutes ago. So, and she's
And for
smiling and
me,
relaxed. And before she was very, you could just see a heaviness in her complexion and in her face and in the body. And so her smiling minutes of doing this. And so, yeah, I just want to commend you for showing up for yourself and asking for help. Really, it was what it comes down to is people asking
uh,
for help. So,
and that's kind of scary. And how often we put ourselves off because I allowed this to go on for a few days without having a conversation with anybody. But for me, sometimes maybe I need to walk through that stuff to because I'm trying to. I've got my training wheels on in certain situations, and then trying to figure this out, and then kind of afraid. There's that fear factor coming through, right? But if we turn around and recognize that it's an excitement instead of a fear, and then it's just our higher self, it's our spirit being like celebrating, like, oh, she's doing it. You're
yeah.
doing it. So,
And even that fear of what we feel is fear again, where we might be where something in our life is changing or could change, not necessarily changing, but we're thinking it might change. And then we conjure up that fear. What if it's actually your spirit going, yes, now she's going to move in this other direction, and we can bring somebody else in line with her that's going to help her propel in whatever, like spirit. So I think about it as spirit as the director, who is overseeing all the roles that we're all playing here on earth, and is trying to line us up with the desires that we have been wanting, and we got to get out of our own way to do that. And so that fear could be, the human side's like, oh my God, I'm fear of the unknown. If I have to make changes, I don't know what that looks like. But the spirit inside is like, yes, yes, go, yes, do it, yes, move, yes, change your direction. Like, so
strike
it,
a pose.
it could be, and this is why I think when change comes up, I think, you know what, it's probably going to be more amazing than I ever thought. No, whatever I have to move through, whatever it's bringing is going to be more amazing than I could ever have thought it could be. And that's just leaning into, faith of whether your religion is Jesus, your faith in Jesus, that he's got you, or God, or, whatever other verbiage, universe, love, divine, that the faith is, let's see what happens. I don't know what's going to happen. And it's not for me to know what's happening. It's for me to move in a direction that feels good.
And you brought up kind of control for a second there too. I think you did, or
Yeah.
my mind popped up and took it in as that. Even I've pulled cards for myself, and one of them was to let go of control issues.
Yeah.
But again, when you're familiar with that as your base point your whole life, you don't necessarily know when it started. You can just see the outcome of it. where you're at and you don't like the way you're feeling right that moment.
Right. Yeah. So um people are going to come and go. People are going to come and go in our life. If you haven't noticed, however, whatever age you are right now, people have come and gone in your life over and over and over and over and over again, hundreds of thousands of times. And some people come back in and then they leave again. And that's just the flow of life. And I too, and I'm not saying this lightly, I too have had to embrace this because I'm the type of person, again, being an introvert, when an introvert finds somebody who they resonate with and feel safe with, that's huge for an introvert. We have to feel safe with you. And when we find somebody who we feel safe with and then they leave, that is complete and utter abandonment to us. Like, how dare you leave? How could you leave? Why are you doing this to me? And now we go into victim mode and woe is me. And oh my God, they don't love me anymore. They don't like me anymore, whatever. No, they had a career change and it took them across the country. That was it, right? That's the facts. And it's like, but my story tells me something different. And I lean into my story, not what is actually happening. And so, yeah, we put ourselves through the we create our own stress. Really, we create our own stress by telling us ourselves these stories that aren't even true. So
It's true.
I
mean, what you're saying is true.
I've learned to lean into, and again, I am not perfect at these life experiences either. I'm still practicing and learning. The only difference between me and maybe you, not you, Bev, but you, the audience, is I've just been practicing a lot longer. And so I'm quicker to lean into tools that are going to help me. But now I forgot what I was going to say. See, there you go. Anyway, I don't sit and spin as long as I used to. Um, I might spin for a few moments, meaning it could be a couple hours, half a day, but it's not months and years. There's a difference, weeks, months, and years, right? There's a huge difference in that. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I've been learning to redirect myself instead of getting in a spin about what my story is, what my story is. They left me, they abandoned me, they don't love me, I'm not good enough for them anymore, whatever, right? That's the story I've created. Where now I am learning to stop and go, okay, what are the facts? And I'm just using, a friend who's moving across country for a career. Where the facts are, this person changed companies or got a promotion or whatever. It requires this person to move to another state on the other side of the country. That is her goals, that are his goals, whoever it might be, right? I'm just creating the story right now. That's their goal for their life, and this is what they desire, and this is what they're creating for them. Those are the facts. The fact that not fact that but the story that I'm creating is they don't love me, they don't accept me, they're abandoning me, I'm never going to hear from them again. Are those true? Do I know those are true? No, they're not true. Something I'm telling myself. So we it's like being your own attorney and judge at the same time. A judge needs facts. End of story. Unless you can prove your facts, they don't want to hear it. It's all hearsay. There's no proof in it. So now you become your own investigator. And guess what? Nobody's going to do that for you. The only other thing you can do with somebody outside of yourself, similar to what Bev did, was ask for help. She knows I have the skills and talents to help her shift her thought process, her mindset, to relax her body so that she could show up and do this recording with us. And if she hadn't done that, guaranteed first thing she would have done says, I can't do this today. We need to reschedule. Guaranteed. But instead, she's just said, hey, I'm in this space. I would like some help in shifting my energy before we start recording. History, it would have been a nope, can't do it. I'm not available, whatever, right? Whether it was you or me or in
No,
this, yeah.
I actually did process thinking about not doing it, and I thought, no, I'll benefit. I'll benefit from it, and then perhaps we'll all benefit from it. So it's like there's always a reason, and it's like I'd rather there be. I'm not the only one going through the muck right now, and neither are you, or neither is any of our listeners right now. And I feel like there's so many parallels that are happening with all of us that it all makes sense, and it's so important for us to show up, and it's so important to ask for help because it's easy to stay in that space of that victim or whatever, that energy of how heavy it felt and not ask for help. It's easy to be in that space. It's not easy because it feels like shit, but
Yes.
it's easy because it's familiar,
Right.
because you know it. And then it's easy to be like, well, I don't know how to get out of it, but it's like tapping is so something so simple and it's so right now and it's so reprogramming and it's so I probably could say so many millions of things. I'm going to be doing some searches after we get done redoing our recordings just because I feel like if it benefits me and I can do that, then it's going to benefit others. And so it's really us. We've talked before and I've asked you like, hey, I need to run something by you, whatever. And it's like we haven't gone to that route. And it's always knowing to trust your intuition too, because your intuition told you this is either this or this. And you ended up kind of finishing like both of them were kind of into it together. And while we were going through it, you said it was minutes. For me, it felt a long time. I felt like I was taking up a lot of your time. And then it's like I didn't know what your schedule was or your plan was or what you needed to have going on the rest of the day, but still went through. But for me, it felt like because because I was in the sludge, right? I was in the quicksand of my thoughts. And then you gave me your hand and helped pull me out of it by giving me tools to do it.
Yeah.
And that's how you know that that's the gurus that you want to find. You want someone that's going to help you up out of it, give you the tools to do these things, not to do it for you so that you can walk through it and witness yourself that these things do work. These things do help. And I do feel lighter. We didn't do before and after pictures.
Right.
You'd probably been like, there's no way that is on the same day, but that's how it was.
Yeah. And that's I work my practice is, and you already said it, my practice is to empower people with their own abilities, not to end up being dependent on me for their healing. And that's what, I've heard this hundreds, if not thousands of times from spiritual influencers or speakers or coaches, Reiki practitioners is, you know, and I've done it too. So my mentor was, thank you so much for what you did for me, did for me. And it's always it, to me, any teacher or coach or anything who is empowering you will say similar to what I say all the time is, I didn't do it. I showed up to give you the tools. I showed up to guide you. But you ultimately are the one that was asking for the guidance, and I showed up. And I showed up to say, here's what you're capable of, and here are the tools that will help you. Now, when I say, let me just preface this, that a coaching package with me is 6 months. I don't do this typically one appointment type of thing. You're going to spend some time with me because there's so much deep programming and belief systems that are in play that we have to sift through that stuff to lighten the load. And then it's like, mama bird kicking the baby bird out of the nest, right? Can people continue? Yeah. After 6 months, I'll tell them, you know what, pay for another 6 month coaching package. And then let me know when you want to get together. It's not like the first coaching package every 2 weeks we meet. The second one, depending on where you are and how you are with yourself, the second go around is it's more like a retainer, and you just, sometimes life happens in the middle of a week, and if our appointment's not till Sunday, you're like, I got this shit going on, I don't know what to do with it. Then I'm like, okay, well, I have whatever time available, let's get together. So that's more like of a retainer type of thing. So every person's different. Some people have such deep-seated trauma and belief systems that, it might take a year for us to get through some of that and lighten that load. But at the same time, you're being empowered. I'm not saying I'm the one that's going to cure you. That is an absolute false statement. I will guide you. I will give you the tools. Are you going to show up for yourself is the question. So even my coaching clients, I'm like, listen, you either are going to show up and do the stuff, do the practices. Otherwise, I'll just take your money and we can both just go on about our lives and be okay with it, because you're not showing up for yourself. I can't work with people like that. That doesn't, it's not fair to them. If they're not willing, it's not fair to me for wasting my energy. So it's like, find somebody, if you need help with something, find somebody who is going to empower you and lift you up, not try to just keep reiterating and sifting through the shit that you already know is wrong or you want to get out of. It's like, okay, well, what's the next steps to move out of it? Like, somebody is stuck in quicksand. You don't get a crowd around and just stand there and go, oh yeah, look, they're stuck in quicksand. Well, that kind of sucks, doesn't, and just sit there and talk about it. What are you going to do to help them move out of it? That's where we want to go, right?
It's true. It's true. And it's empowering, because I have my things that I'll call on. I'll call on like the angels and stuff like that. But, you know, sometimes I need a little extra other stuff.
Well, yeah.
That helped.
When you're stuck in the muck and guck, yes, you want the help. And at the same time, your head space, whatever story you're telling yourself, is so much more powerful in the moment that you wouldn't even recognize the help from spirit or God or angels or Jesus or anybody else. True. You wouldn't. You just they could plant the biggest heart in front of you and you just be like, mother trucker, that's in my way, get out of my way, it's a dobster, right? You just wouldn't embrace. Exactly. You would find some reason to be victimized by a huge giant heart.
But it's true. It's true. And it can't be fathomed from the energy that we're in right now, but it can be fathomed from an energy of someone that's in that space that it's so low vibrational. It just doesn't feel good. It feels heavy.
And I have no attachment to your story.
I know. So I know that, like, for me, when I'm helping someone out, it's easy. Yeah. It's easy. I have no attachment to the story.
Yeah. So with no attachment to your story, I can guide you through moving through it. Whereas when you're trying to do it by yourself, you're too attached to your story and you get blinders on you. You can't see other perspectives or thought processes or shift your mindset or anything like that. You're just like, you are focused on the problem. Somebody with no attachment on the outside is like, well, if you just, if you just veered off just slightly, and then you're like, wait, what? I can do that? What do you mean?
Yeah, that was not part of my programming.
That's right. So, yeah, asking for help is huge, and somebody, of course, that you would trust or you feel comfortable with. I would love to say, ask your friends, but sometimes your friends are too attached to your stories. They're too much involved, and they're going to be the cheerleaders that help you see that you're right.
Exactly.
And that's not work well.
No, it doesn't. It's not beneficial. It's not good to always be the yes person on the sidelines for stuff like that. And if I know this.
Yeah. And if your friend gives you a hard throat punch of a reality check, then that might damage your relationship. So they're going to be your cheerleader, and yeah, you're right, he's a mother effer, blah 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 blah. And we ride at dawn, bitches, let's go. Whereas a coach is like, well, you have options and it's your responsibility. And I can, as a coach, I can say those things even with Bev, because in that moment we're doing tapping, we are coach and client. We are not, I'm not on that friend level no more, because I need to help move her through something. That is my job. As soon as she asks for help, I have to go, okay, we got to move through this in a way that she is open and willing to understand, not from the writing at dawn bitches, let's go, because that would not help her. It would keep her stuck still. So,
Yeah. And that's like temporarily you might feel a little bit of ease,
yeah.
during that time frame, but it doesn't give long term. So even for me, I might have a little bit of a story kind of pop up, and I'm like, no, that's a story. And I might go back to the tapping, or I tap on my hand or whatever, saying that I'm safe or I'm okay, just walking through it. So just being aware of all this stuff,
Yeah.
because like you said, I just go back to the reprogramming. That's what we're doing all the time. We're reprogramming. We just all we downloaded a lot of information when we got here, and sometimes that information is just not useful in this time space reality that we're in now, which I'm finding.
Yeah.
And it just
So,
doesn't feel comfortable. That's how we know. That's our gauge.
yeah. So ultimately, ask for help. Um, if you're stuck in it too much, you have to have somebody who's on the sidelines, who has no attachment, really, who can guide you and help you, whether that's a coach, a psychologist, psychiatrist, a mental health counselor, whatever that looks like. So don't stay and sift in it, because really, ultimately, what you're doing is embracing your own suffering, and then you get to choose how long you get to suffer, and that doesn't feel good. We know that. So how quickly do you want to feel good, right? It's like,
Yeah.
these are our
And
options.
what are you creating? Like, what are you trying to bring into your experience? And I'm aware of all that stuff too, but it's like also loving ourselves so much that we don't want to continue creating the struggle that we've been in.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll call that one good. We'll say thanks for hanging out with Tea Time with Amy and Bev. Be sure to reach out if you need help with something. Not Doesn't even have to be with us. Um, Somebody that you feel safe and comfortable with. But do something. Don't sit and just stir in it. And there's other people on the planet having these conversations, and it could be your coworker that sits next to you in the office. So be resourceful, share us. You can find us on many platforms. So, of course, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, iHeartRadio, Podcast Addict. I'm trying to think of them off the top of my head. TikTok. So, share us if you want. Also, you can leave comments, questions. If there's a topic or you have a question about something, leave it for us and we'll come back to it. And any final words?
I would just say if you're afraid to ask for help, are you so afraid that you'd rather stay miserable? Like, it's just take that time to recognize that asking for help, it's being vulnerable, and that's okay. Like you said, talking to people that you feel safe with, or finding yourself, I would say, finding yourself a coach.
Yeah.
I think that's very valuable.
Yeah. Coaches have more freedom in the things that they can say. I'm just going to leave that there.
Yeah. Yes.
we're not bound by certain laws and policies and all the things. So
Exactly.
anyway, thanks for hanging out with us. Tea Time with Amy and Bev. We'll see you next time.
Bye.